A small one, like $50 a month.
Okay, that's not too bad.
It's a newer neighborhood. You know how they have those.
Yeah.
No
Shoot me the address. I can take a look at it.
Okay.
You never know.
Never knew. That's my good news.
Well, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
We're graced with Damien's presence. His beautiful face.
Grace is a very loose term.
It's his middle name, Grace. Damien Grace.
That is Grace.
I guess big picture, I think what Damien and I were chatting and kind of where this came from was, I think, putting a little bit more of, what I want to say, application to, to the whole process. What is it that Damien's doing? Why is he doing it? What are the small things that are making the impact on solidifying the clients? I think we kind of say it all the time. Loyalty seems like it's rare to none in this industry, to where, are you earning your clients? Are you receiving their referrals? And if you are, you usually know why. After we kind of started chatting about it, there's a few things that definitely I know that Damien's doing that I'm not doing, that I can definitely see that I need to adjust some of my behavior, but also incorporate some of these elements. So I think a lot of this is more very specific things that he's doing, and not just theories, not concepts, but actual items of value that he's providing. So ask questions, participate, let us know if you need anything. But I'm going to share my screen with everybody.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, so, as Jared said, this all kind of came about a little bit, just us chit-chatting. And I mean, I think we've all seen how, we thought 2015 there was low inventory, and then we thought 2018 there was low inventory, and hey, welcome 2021, because it is like really thin on the ground out there. So I had, I've done certain things for a number of years, and this sort of early January, late December, I really started thinking about, okay, what are we going to do here? I was, not getting contracts when I was submitting what I thought was the best possible contract I could, and just getting beaten out crazy. So I started sitting down and really thinking about, working with buyers, keeping the buyers, not to the sons and up. Yeah, there you go. Stand on the desk. Give us a dance.
It's not happening.
Slide it over to the right a little bit. Cheers. Yeah, there you go. Or you could just get a blind. You choose.
I took him down.
Took him down. I've been just talking with Jared, and I find it. I always talk to other people just to say, hey, am I crazy? Am I missing something? Or because I think it's always good to relate to what other agents are going through. Certainly, we'll touch on this later. Don't ever compare yourself to other agents. I think that's a big mistake that agents make. I would like to preface that a lot of what we go through here, I don't want to make it like I'm doing all of these things. Now, all of these things are being done, but I'm sure, as most of you know, I do have a dialer. I have someone who works my business. I pay for that. That falls into another category about investing in yourselves and investing in your business. It really pays dividends. So, like I just said, don't compare yourself to other agents. You don't know their journey. You don't know what they're going through. Truthfully, you don't know how much money they're spending. We get very caught up in, this agent closed 60 deals this year. Well, yeah, they're spending over $100,000 to do that. So please don't think that every single thing like I'm doing myself. That's going to be a misconception. I pay someone to do most of it. I know what I do well. I know what I don't do well. So I delegate, and I started that about 4 years ago at CHFR. And this is, and I've been able to build on it. These are like building blocks. I don't think you want to go out and go, hey, I'm going to implement these 10 things. You're setting yourself up for failure. It's about building blocks. As your business grows, you can add different pieces.
Well, I think one of the things that we had talked about too is you have one of two things. You've got time or you've got money. And if you don't have the money yet, then you need to be spending the time. So I think it's us going back to, fully utilizing the time that we have to grow our business. Once you do and you establish it, I think then that's when you start establishing the money to put back into it as well.
And I think with the time thing, it's about also having patience. It's about understanding that, this is not a 9-to-5 job. One thing, I'll touch on later is, your why. Like, why are you doing this? And also realizing that, yes, you know, we all want to make $100, $200, $300,000 a year, but really, and I've been saying this, you know, Joe can attest to this when we were doing, you know, sort of agent stuff back in CHFR, look at like just, you know, doing 60, 70 in the first year and then building on that and building on building. If you run out and try to do $200,000, sorry, you're going to fail, and you're going to set, you know, you're going to set yourself for failure, and then it's, you know, then it's even harder. It's even harder to keep, you know, fighting. So, you know, the first thing you see up here, I heard the other day, I got a good friend, David Golden, very successful agent out of Las Vegas. He took the EXP model and absolutely blew it up. He doesn't do real estate anymore. He just manages teams all over the country. And I joined him on a miracle morning. I do this every morning. This is one thing I want to touch on again about, you know, what do we do for ourselves? We seem to be client focused, lead generation, real estate. You've also got to work on yourselves. You've also got to find things that, you know, find your why, challenge yourself, get out there and just do things for yourself. And so, you know, I was on this miracle morning on Clubhouse, and I heard this, you know, success is more than a journey, it's a mindset. And it really resonated with me because my real estate career has gone up and down. People who've known me, Andrew, you've known me since 2003 when I was at Washington Mutual. Some of you, you know, most of you know me since CHFR days. And I can attest to 2016 when my business literally hit the brick wall. I mean, I'm talking like died dead from one of my best years in 15 to 2016, barely making it. And I had to
remember that. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I remember that. That was before Ann Clark Kay had gone on board.
Well, then that was before I was investing in my business.
Right.
Yeah.
I will give you full disclosure. This isn't meant to be like a modest. I just want to let you guys know again, because you know, Andrew, you know, you ask me questions. I'll tell you straight. I spend over $100,000 a year purely before I earn a penny. Right. Just so you guys know that. Okay. You don't have to do that. You don't have to come even close to that. But just so you know, I want you to understand, I don't do all the calling. I don't do all the lead generation. You know, I have people and I spend money. So I don't want to give this illusion that I'm this like Superman. No, I have, you know, I spend a lot of money and I get people to do it for me.
But you have the time, you have the money now too.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wasn't spending, you know, $7,000, $8,000 a month 6 years ago.
Right.
You know, I was spending like $1,500 a month and then building and building and building. And as as I got more business and had more money, I put it back in. You know, for me, this is not a career, a job, a 9 to 5. I've been doing for nigh on 17 years. For me, it is a lifestyle. I love what I do. My why is I like the smile on people's faces when they buy their property. And it's the cliche. 250,000 is their biggest purchase. 2.5 million is their biggest purchase. It's, you know, when they buy that property, when they move into their house, their first time, second time, whatever it is, that's my kick. That's why I do what I do. And I'm also nosy. I like looking at people's houses.
At least you admit it.
Well, yeah, like the other day I was in a house in the valley and they had like a full-blown front door. Did you see my post? They had an exterior door coded lock on their bedroom door.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around going, okay, what's going on in here? I'm like, damn it, I've seen a lot of things, but I haven't seen that before. So again, there's a book called The Miracle Morning. It's a great book. I encourage anybody to read it. It's not long. It should take you like a day or two. If you did it on Audible, you can bust through it in about 5 hours. And out of the Miracle Morning came a whole stream of other Miracle Mornings for realtors, Miracle Mornings for couples. One of the people that I'm associated with on Clubhouse on this Miracle Morning, she was the co-author of Miracle Morning for Couples. And she was speaking about teach, educate, appreciate, and meet. And I thought, shit, that just so falls into like what I try to do, you know, not even realizing it. And I kind of took what she said and what I do and kind of put it together. And I thought it'd be really good to try to get across, you know. And so, you know, today everything's done online. Clients use their phones, use the laptop. We all know about Zillow. We all know about Trillia. we're just, clients are bombarded. So how do you stay in front of them? And this is what Jared and I were sort of talking about. So, like the first thing is touch. Like, how do you touch somebody you don't know? You can't just say, hey, Joe, let's go for a coffee. I mean, I've never met you. You don't know me. Who the hell am I? So I try to put down sort of 5 things that I do when reaching out to clients. And again, I've got a dialer who does a lot of this as well. So actually, can we go back? I'm sorry, yeah, do the stats. I apologize. I spaced that. Where's those little steady stats?
Where did our stats go?
Come on, producer.
Where did our stats go?
You lost my stats.
Oh,
there you go. You're on it.
I got turned off. There we go. Stats.
So I presume you've all heard of Knock. I'm doing something with Knock, which I was telling Jared, maybe we can do another talk in February when I can tell you my results. But I was going through Knock. I've grasped onto Knock like a bulldog. I think it's going to be a pretty wicked program that's, again, I think we should all be utilizing to get listings, and we can discuss that at another time. So I was going through their marketing material and I pulled this up. And basically 79% of home buyers use their cell phone to search for properties. So if you talk to anybody in real estate prior 2000, we had, and I mean, I was what, 2002, 2003, but we had like floor time. So you'd sit in the office, people would pick up the phone and they would call, or they would literally drive by and come on in, When last have you ever heard of floor time?
Never.
I mean, maybe some of the new realtors don't even know what floor time is, so.
Or a landline.
Or a landline, yeah, literally. So, yeah, with basically nigh on 80% of people using their cell phones, and you're that lucky that they're going to come through to you, whether it's through, your own lead generation, whether you're buying leads, whatever it is, they come to you. You've got to know that the minute they hang up with you, they're back on the phone. They're back searching. They're driving around using the Zillows, the Trillias, the Redfins, etc. And these are, sort of gargantuan companies with billions and billions of dollars behind them that we just can't compete with. So, they're always being redirected to someone else. So again, how do you stay in front of them? That's that touch. What's this? In 2014, home buyers used the web mobile to search for properties more often than they contacted the real estate agent. Again, just back to what I said earlier, the minute they hang up with you, they're back on their phone, And again, 50% of home buyers only talk with one agent before deciding who to work with. So how do you become that one agent? How do you, what can you do? Like, you've got a microsecond to actually get in front of them and hook them. And yeah, once home buyers make their decision, they want to move fast. I think you might all know that I buy Zillow leads, and I see that every single day. They're like, click Zillow now. And I want to see it today at 7 o'clock. I want to see it tomorrow at 8 o'clock, so I'm always dropping. Yesterday, I was literally walked into the gym, got a Zillow request from an existing lady, walked right out the gym.
Right.
Because she wanted to see it at like 5 o'clock, and I had to, so you just got to be prepared to be super, super flexible. And again, staying on top of mind is most important. So taking that in your mind, how do you touch them? What do you do?
Well, here's a real life example, I think, of really what Damien's chatting about is I had a client, Will and Kate, who
Is it because I love you, Jared? Is it because I felt sorry for you?
who happened, we went out the next day, we're looking at properties, and he says, yeah, we almost went checked out a property. And I was like, well, who are you going out with?
It was a Zillow. They came through on Zillow.
Yeah, no, a Zillow agent called us, and
well, no. He, I didn't call him. He reached out on Zillow.
Right. Okay, so my client
jumped on Zillow,
connects with the agent on Zillow, right? I don't even know how it got brought up. He says, yeah, but I told him that we were working with you. He had an English accent, I think is what it was. He told me that he couldn't show me the property because he was in the airport in Las Vegas. And I knew Damien. I knew Damien was in Vegas, right? And I was like, do you remember his name? And he's like, it was Damien. I was like, oh, motherfucker.
And whenever somebody comes through and says, I always ask them if they've signed with somebody, because one, to truth, it's integrous. And I also don't want to be out, I don't want to poach other people's clients. I just don't. That's the way I operate, because I don't want it being done to me, so I always ask questions. But yeah, it was just funny that it happened to be Jared's clients on top of it as well.
But it happened to be Damien that got the Zillow lead that ended up, and it was a fluke situation where they didn't want to waste my time and have me go show them a property in Littleton, right? Trust me, waste my time. And not only that, I live around the freaking corner.
It's funny you bring that up, because I get a lot of that on through Zillow. Okay, I get a lot of I'll go through the standard questions, connect with them, and then I'll say, look, I do have to ask you this question. If you've signed with somebody, I can't show you, I can't take you out, blah 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 blah. And I'm honest with them. I'm like, I'm self-employed. Like, I get paid when I close. I can't waste my time if you're working with someone. And literally, more often than not, I'll get, well, I just don't want to waste my agent's time. And I'm like, are you effing kidding me?
It's a waste of my time.
It's a waste of my time. I mean, my time's not valuable. But what that tells me is agents are not stressing to their buyers.
Call me.
Whatever you want.
Right.
Call me. I'll be there. They're not being flexible. They're not being accommodating.
They try to go ice fishing.
They're trying to go ice fishing on a Saturday. I mean, they got Clement Park, honey. Just pop out there for a couple of hours.
You catch a goose.
So communicate. That's the thing is clients or buyers aren't understanding, or not that their agents are not explaining. I will be at your disposal, whatever you want. And I promise you now, all my clients, they think they're the only clients. That is one of my sole goals, is they're the only clients. They don't know I have one other that I'm bribing.
Then you got two. Right?
Yeah, I got two. I'm kicking back my commission, so they close.
Well, I think, to be honest on that point, though, I think most clients think that we're busier than we are, that we don't have the time to give them, and nor do we have necessarily the interest sometimes. And I think that this whole thing was about, solidifying those relationships. If I start it and I go meet you, or I start the conversation, why do I want to lose you and have to replace you? And I think that that's where, Damien's finding success, is that when he gets the chance, he doesn't let it go. He just said it. He went to the gym doing something for himself, got the opportunity, and not gave up, but surrendered for himself to get, the business.
Well, and touching on that, I also broke one of my cardinal rules, which is, my routine. So I have my routine every morning. And that's to go to the gym at 9:30. I'll wake up, I'll do my 7 to 8 o'clock miracle morning call. I do my morning routine, do some work, go to the gym. Well, I didn't do that yesterday because I know what happens come lunchtime. People start calling, people want to go see. So it's not that I was like, okay, sort of sacrificing myself. It's like, well, hang on a sec. I broke my routine. I know that, in the afternoons, this is more than likely going to happen. So that's why I did walk out the gym, because in truth, I should not have gone to the gym to begin with, because I know what happens, but that's just what I believe. That's just what I do, So yeah, so back to the touch thing, and we can go through these points. So Jared said, look, come up with, sort of a couple of points, things that you do. We'll start with the first one and the greatest one. And this is the one that baffles me tremendously. In MLS, we have concierge. And I'll just be straight up. Why you don't do concierge is beyond my belief. I've never done anything but concierge service for any of my leads.
And I'll nutshell it, I guess, on our MLS, we can set up a saved search and it just pumps the properties out.
Correct.
Right. Concierge, what Damien, and Damien brought it up to me. And the first thing
you were like, no.
I was like, no, I know what concierge is. No, concierge is different. Instead of it pumping them out at 5 o'clock in the evening or 3 o'clock in the morning, it actually sends you the notification. Hey, here's a new property.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a new property for your client. You literally have to go
into MLS.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I mean, you can do it on your phone. It is so easy on your phone, and it's easy on your laptop. And I'm constantly on the MLS. I mean, I couldn't tell you, but it's got to be 3 or 4 hours a day, like all added up, constantly searching the MLS. And so when I'm on there, I can see, I've got, 15 concierge to send out or 5 concierge to send out. So the reason I do this is because I'm touching my buyers every single time I send them a concierge. Because when your buyer says, I want ABC property and I want it to be this, I want it to be bedrooms, you are relying on the listing agent to have entered that information correctly.
Right.
Okay. You're also relying on your buyer to have told you exactly what they want, which, you know, only really happens over time, over going out and showing. So by just letting the properties go to them, they could be getting properties that just simply don't suit them. Okay. There may be properties that have foundation issues. And I don't think there's many buyers out there that you've come across, unless it's an investor says, I will deal with foundation. So they're going to see these properties that they're going through. They think you're sending them because it's coming from you. And if they're wrong, you're sending the wrong properties. Okay. So that's one reason why I don't do it, because I want to look at exactly what I'm sending. Now, I do break them into two categories. I break them into buyers that are looking to buy, they're just sort of browsing. They're not solidly in the car. We're not really out there to write a contract. So I might not scrutinize those properties in great detail. I will, you'll see, Jared Wempen, 4 properties come up. I'll click on the MLS and I'll just look at them just to, sort of peruse. You can always tell from the outside of a house what an inside's going to look like. I can anyway.
Right.
So I know I'm sending Jared 3 properties today. I sent him 4 properties the other day. I can reach out at the end of the week. And you will also see when last Jared was on MLS. Okay. So now Jared he's in the car, we're going and looking. Well, now I really start scrutinizing those properties. Now I'll look at the pictures, I'll look at the square footage, I'll look at everything. So that when I send these 3 out of 10 properties to Jared, those are 3 that I know he wants to look at. So when I go look at properties, he's not saying, hey, let's look at these 6. And now how do I say to him, those 3 are kind of shit. Those 3 you're not going to like. Trying to say no to a client is very, very difficult. So I send them what he wants to see. We go look at 3. I know that those are all going to fit within his sort of buying spectrum.
I think my favorite part, though, is Damien's not just letting it fuel and feed them. He's actually taking the time. And I think it's a more intimate approach for the actual client experience. The client themselves, gets a little note. Hey, I found these 3 that I thought you'd like. Let me know what you think about, 123 Elm Street. I thought the basement was ideal, or I thought the backyard was perfect. He can make it a little bit more specific to their request and not just pumping them out to them without the care. So I think it adds.
Well, and when I see a property, and I've got a couple of cases right now, and again, in this market where there's very few listings, even $1 million properties are flying off the shelves that, the next day. What I do, and I've got maybe like 4 clients right now who are like, we're going to write tomorrow. As soon as we find the right property, I will go through the property and then send it to them and text them. Hey, Michelle, I just sent you 123 Main Street. The kitchen is what you want. Check out that friggin'. And I pump them up. I get all excited. Like, we have to go. Like, this is the one. Like, I'm super excited. That gets them pumped up as well, so that when we go to the house and we see it, they've already got this like good, positive vibe feeling, So that's the way I touch them, is I can send them a property. Hey, I just sent you this one. You've got to take a look at it right now.
Here's why I'm sending it.
And here's why I'm sending.
Right.
But again, let's not forget this whole, I think we sort of space, this whole thing for me is, how do you give value? How do you give value to someone you've never met, that you want to meet, that you want to stay in front of? And all you've got to do is give just a little bit more value than the next person. That's all you have to do.
Well, and everybody's got, been set up on a property search. Oh yeah, somebody's already sending me properties, or yeah, somebody else is sending me properties. You being more engaged and involved in the process, I think helps them realize, your involvement and actually, the perceived value. It's not even perceived value, it's actual value.
Yeah. And I think, everybody's busy. We've heard this, like, I'm so busy. I got the kids, I got my work, that's that mindset. So I try to take that busyness away. Like, I take on that busyness of their property search, and what it helps me do is gain confidence, trust, so that when we are writing a contract and I'm like, hey, we've got to go 25,000 over, you've got to do a 20,000, blah, blah, they go, oh, okay, cool. If that's what we have to do to get this one, because it's not just like this space is void of time. Oh, so this property comes up, let's go out and see it. Like, every couple of days, if not every day, I'm communicating with them, even if it's through text, establishing that sort of, trust, not control is the wrong word, but just being able to say, look, this is what you need to do. And then confidence, I think.
There you go, confidence, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I think if you don't know concierge service or you haven't participated, you haven't looked at it, I would definitely spend time in the MLS and just, I think it does. It changes the experience that they have. And if they're already receiving the property alerts from somebody else, it separates you hands down. Yeah.
And I'd ask anybody right now, do you know how many properties in the past 7 days were listed on the MLS residential and how many went under contract? Do you know? No. The only reason I know is because I'm on MLS 4 or 5 hours a day. Just over 500 properties on the MLS were listed. This is no bedroom parameters. This is no, number parameters. And I'm sure it's changed a little bit because this was as of yesterday. And just under 1,600 went under contract. Okay. It's like 3 times. Right. What does that tell you?
We're less and less every day.
Less and less every day,
Right.
And that was over a 7-day period. So that includes last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday when we get mass listings. Right. So you've got to be like Johnny on the spot to get out and even stand a chance. When there's 110 showings on a property, you got
38 offers,
whatever it is, something crazy.
Right.
So I stumbled into this next one. I've heard about this, obviously we've spoken about it over the past couple of years. I'm a big Matterport fan for my listings. I predominantly do Matterports and anything over $500,000. But I wasn't really hot on the video tours. I'm sort of a little, gun shy behind or in front of the camera. I'm trying to, get over that over the recent times. I've actually gotten 2 people under contract through video tours, both out of state. And the only time they saw the property was when they came out for the inspection. One closed in December, one closed in January. Love video tours. It's become my, my little sort of ace in the hole, if you will. I offer video tours if you live in Highlands Ranch. I'll offer you a video tour if you live next door. You know why? I'm adding value. I'm saying you stay home, you stay in your job, be comfortable, do your thing behind your desk, at home, whatever it is, look after Johnny. I'll run out and take a look at the house. One, I can go through listings a hell of a lot quicker. Truth. They're not in tow. I can sort of not control what they see, but I can walk through the house, pointing things out. I use it as a great education part as well, showing them the different things about the house, discussing what things will cost. And again, it's like, who else is doing it? And everybody's talking about video tours, but are you really offering video tours? And I'm, this lady who called from the gym yesterday, she lives in Highlands Ranch. I've never met her. She was a Zillow lead. I've just been sending her properties. She wants a walkout basement. She wants a gym. She's an instructor. And I've been saying, I'll go do a video tour. She's like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Yesterday, she got onto Zillow and clicked to see a property, and another agent contacted her. And She was like, I haven't signed with her. Just so you know, I don't sign with buyers or sellers until we actually, kind of go into contract. And she was like, no, I'm working with somebody. And that's when she reached out, to me. So I think just offering video tours, showing like a perceived value is very important. And it's been working for me, as I said. And also the couple coming out on Friday, I've done a couple of video tours from them. They're coming out from California.
I think one of the things, that I like about it though, is with most people, I think that they value the time that we spend for them, and giving that video tour is specifically for them. Wow, you did that for me. I think that's when they also then feel, a bit of debt to Damien, wow. Yeah. Wow, you keep doing all these things for me. You've earned it. You deserve it. And not only that, I want to give it to you.
Well, I also think you can get to really show off, your knowledge. You can show off your real estate skills. It's not just the video tour. You can walk through at your pace. You can, stand in front of the kitchen longer than if you want. How many times you go out with buyers and they're like, do we go upstairs? Do we go downstairs? Where do you can. I start outside, I'll open the door, I'll start outside, show them the street view, show them coming in the house. Really, just buy some blinds, mate. Amazon, $9.99. It's going higher and higher. I just need to get. So yeah, so I really encourage you to try that and to do it. There is a gray area around video tours that I do have to stress, and that's because they're so new. There's no real legal mandate about recording that video tour. Now, we do have very strict laws around a seller having recording you as a buyer's agent and a buyer. They have to notify you. That's law. That's actually in a box, locked and loaded. So when you walk through a house and you see those cameras, you better have been notified that they are recording. That's illegal not to notify anybody who enters the property. If you're recording, where do you fall? No one quite knows that, is my pickup yet. So always cover your ass. If you're gonna record it, which you don't need to do because you can go live with your buyers, make sure you have a yes from the listing agent. Obviously, they'll come from the seller, but email the agent and say, hey, I'm gonna be recording. Are you okay with that?
Right.
I had my buyer last week in California say, I'm gonna record. And I just didn't register. She said to me, do you mind if I record? You okay if I record you? And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And afterwards, I'm like, oh, shit. She actually was recording the property as well, from my FaceTime. The property was vacant, so I feel a little bit okay. But yeah, just be very careful about that because, maybe 9 out of 10 sellers will be okay, but it's that one that don't post it on Facebook. Don't put it out into the public unless you have express permission. That's advertising another listing agent's property, and you will get into a lot of trouble for that.
But I think what's nice about the video tour, it adds the additional value. It solidifies the relationship that you have. I think touching on the actual liability piece is imperative. Shooting the email to the listing agent, ensuring that even if they respond and didn't ask the seller, it's not your problem at that point.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the listing agent says yes, the listing agent says yes. You're not responsible for whether he or she went back to the seller. That's not your.
Right.
The other obvious one here, calling, text, and email. Again, can't stress this enough. Text messaging takes 33.5 seconds, literally. Again, using the concierge, all of these things, you'll see how they kind of tie in with each other. Using the concierge and the texting. Hey, I haven't seen much come up for you recently. I am looking. I got a call sign off a listing back last year in September, October. He's on an MLS search, never met him. Nice guy. He's looking for a big workshop. I just text him, hey, I'm sorry, nothing's coming. He's very specific on what he wants. So I do a lot of that. A lot of the calling in the email is done by my dialer. I don't do much of the calling until they're working with me, until they're kind of in the car, Then using the CRM, I can't stress this enough. I don't know how you manage your clients or potential clients without some sort of CRM. Sync is a great one. It runs at about $1,000 a month, but there's other things that come with that as well. So, it's not just a CRM. But the ability to send mass texts, mass emails, Sync will give you the website. You can then also see, Sync will set up automatic property searches. So it's just a great way to see what your, potential possible clients are doing in the background. My dialer is very, very good at sending out what we call holiday text. Excuse me. Hey, happy 4th of July, happy Halloween, blah, 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 blah. It's just, again, every single opportunity that you can have to reach out is just staying in the forefront. Even if we do hey, a $500 or $1,000 selling, credits, we can do on a mass text, hey, seen you on the website. We're running this, special for a special, bit of a tacky word. Hey, we'll give you $1,000 if you go into contract in the next 6 months or something. Again, just another way to what you're trying to do is get engaged and get that phone ring.
Well, and just continue to fuel value, continue to share value. But I think just, finding ways to connect with items of value is really where Damien's distinguishing himself.
And then a lot of times you'll see somebody who, they haven't been on the site or they haven't been looking at properties for 2 or 3 weeks. Boom, suddenly they're on. That is an absolute call to action. They may just be just looking, perusing, you look, you lose. But that's a reason to text, to call. Hey, I saw you back on the site. Can I help you then? Because you don't know how the circumstances have changed. You just simply don't know.
Well, it's always changing. But if you're not staying with them, and adding that value, they pick up the phone. Connect with Damien on Zillow, and then you lost it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you left the gym.
Because I left the gym. And I'm not going to be as nice as I was for Jared.
You were out of town.
Boomerang. This is a very inexpensive, basically, sign up a Boomerang, send your clients over, don't ever worry about it again. It's a monthly card that goes out. I think it's a 50 minimum. So if you've got 30, just do the 50. I mean, that's what they're going to charge you for. It's like 69 or 70 cents a card. And it's got your pretty face. It's got obviously your information. This month it was to Cuba, get one entree, buy one entree, get one free. Sometimes they do Mad Greens, and I think they specialize it to like the area of where your clients are as well. Again, my darling knows a lot more about that. She organizes and sends it out. I've been doing it now for, whatever, since 2 years. I started at CHFR, no longer than that.
3 years.
3 years. Yeah, I'm always getting every month, I'm getting at least hey, thanks for this. This really worked for us. Or, good to see your face again, something like that. If it's a family of 4, husband, wife, and 2 kids, I send 2 boomerangs. Why? Because it's buy one, get one. Well, either the kids aren't eating that week, the kids ain't getting the special, or someone's losing out. So for $1.40, someone just closed with me and I'm, make $10,000, $12,000, $13,000. You can afford, 60, 70 cents a month. Every single client that closes goes on to Boomerang, regardless. I do send them out to potential clients, depending on the relationship, depending how that connection is, and that's normally determined. It could be quite quickly if I've got a good connection. Just again, as another, look, we're not even as clients, they're not even working with us, but it's also getting my face and my name in front of them on a monthly basis. Because again, all of this touch is you don't know when they're going to change their mind to now drop and buy.
And I think, just kind of summing it up though, this, touching and connecting your client is one thing, but I think adding the items of value is where Damien's distinguishing himself. This goes back to the whole piece of this, is really, what do we do to separate ourselves? And I think it's adding the increased value. It's, hey, well, I keep texting you and you left me. Well, are you texting items of value? Or are you checking in the concierge service? I think this is a phenomenal thing. After I heard it from Damien's perspective, I was like, okay. On my side, I didn't perceive it that way. I was like, I got to do more work, right? And I think on Damien's side, it's actually less work because he's more effective.
Yeah. Well, it's and I'm not trying to pick on you. When you go, I've got more work. What the hell are you doing?
Right.
Like, this is work.
Right.
This is a grind, and it's this is a cliche. There is no industry really where you can earn the kind of cash
we do.
We do. And with our values right now, I harken back. There's a few people there remember who was around for the mortgage crisis. Who was out there selling $35,000 condos.
Right.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I do remember the days of $50,000 condos and getting $1,200 checks. Hey, nothing to laugh at, but I mean, what's our average price in Denver? $630,000.
Right.
It's an $18,000 paycheck
every day, all day.
Mental.
Yeah.
So, and again, using a couple of these, or all of them if you can. It's not just texting. It's different. You're touching them in different ways. So one, you don't get bored. It's not repetitive. And it's again just trying to add value. What's going to separate you from the other 31,000 agents out there?
Hey, Damien, I have a question for you on your CRM.
I think this is my hot button. I mean, this is really where I think I stand out from a lot of agents, because I know, I just kind of go through these quick. I know lending inside and out. There is nothing about lending I do not know. The cost of a house, I can literally tell you the cost from foundation to roof. When I'm walking through a house or talking to a buyer, my job is to educate them so they know exactly what they're getting into. When we're on the phone and we're talking about getting pre-qualified and who's their lender, I don't get them because I'm like, you need to use my lender. I get them because I ask them about their lending, and I can pick up when they've missed something, when their lender clearly hasn't pulled their credits, or their lender is, hey, like, what's your income approximately, so I really encourage you, if you have a basic understanding of lending, get with your lender partner and make that a 100% understanding of lending. Because when you can talk, the more you can talk to your buyers and more of the connection and the more value you can add. Again, one of them is like talking about lending, like, oh, FHA, conventional. Buyers don't know the ins and outs.
No.
So when you can say to them, oh, this is the VA funding fee, and this is your, basically FHA, you've got a lifelong mortgage insurance, really delve in. It has saved me time and time again doing it now from them messing up in a month or 2 months' time by pulling them from their lender because I knew the lender just hadn't done what he or she should have done.
Well, then this goes back to the confidence, you sharing the specifics, for them and allowing them to explore the options, I think grows that confidence. Yeah. You're adding the value, but then it's growing the confidence when you start sharing, hey, well, let's get connected with the lender. Let's go through the process. Let's look at what it looks like.
Yeah. And again, for me, it's you're talking to them longer, you're connecting with them, and they're like, wow, Jerry really knows his stuff. He knows about the lending. He knows about this. You're tightening, you're getting, because they don't want to go somewhere else because they're too scared.
Right.
They're like, oh, because everybody wants to feel comfortable. So that's what I do. I try to make them as comfortable as I can. I even tell them, like, we're not going to do this unless you're comfortable. We're not writing on this house unless you're comfortable. We're not going to, I want you guys to be absolutely comfortable in this process.
Right.
The cost of, things in a house. Jared said earlier, you either got time or you've got money. You might have both. We've all got time. When you're walking through a house, do you truly know the cost of trim? How much is a linear foot of trim? Anybody know?
$3.
If it was $3, you wouldn't be building houses, mate. So again, like, you're walking through a house, the trim is tacky, it's all beaten up, it's from 1979. We all know the nice flat edge trim, So when you're walking through a house and you can tell the buyer, look, you've got 800 or 900 linear feet of trim. You're looking at between 90 cents and $1.35. You're going to be at about $45 an hour for labor. You've just calculated that this buyer can do the entire trim in the house for $2,500, whatever it is. And you're like, that's not an expensive fix. And you're totally going to modernize your property. Oh, okay, great. Like, buyers don't know these things. How much is a white appliance? How much is a Viking appliance? Like, knowing the cost, again, has absolutely got me contracts. It's got me buyers to write because they've walked through and gone, well, all these doors are like really beaten up. All right, well, I mean, you can get a notchy older door if you want for, $7.95 a door. You can go to Home Depot and get it for $125. Like, what do you want?
Right.
Being able to work out these things, again, shows your knowledge, shows your confidence, gets you more tied to the buyer, and you can actually say, hey, look, you can, spend $7,000 on this house, and this is what you can do to it. Roofs are the big one. Buyers are always concerned about roofs. How much are furnaces? How much are hot water tanks? So
the plumbing from inside the house to the street.
How much is a faucet?
Right.
Most times you think a kitchen faucet's going to run you in the hundreds of dollars. No, not necessarily. You get a really nice, you get a very nice kitchen faucet for, $50, $60, $70. Sure, you can spend $2,000 on a kitchen faucet if you really wanted to.
I've seen your mirrors.
You've seen mine. Mine was $9.99 from fucking Wayfair. So those are my two big hacks right there. It's your knowledge is your success. Because if you're more knowledgeable than the agent who's, also trying to get these buyers, they're going to come to you. They're going to work with you because they want to feel comfortable. They want to see the confidence in their agent. They want to know that they're being looked after. And let's face it, more than ever before, we're asking people to spend $450,000, $500,000 just to get in a house. It's ridiculous, So, with all of that in mind, we're not showing $250,000 single family homes anymore, No. So buyers, I've seen a lot more nerves out there of just the price tags of houses. It makes buyers very, so if you can educate them on the lending, show them how they can do it a little cheaper, and you also want to try to get them to your lender. You can't tell them to use your lender, because you know if they're with your lender, you've got way more chance of that deal closing.
Well, we know what happens when they go to another lender.
Well, yeah, we won't name it.
Right.
Damn it. So yeah, so those, so again, if you got time, go to Home Depot, like walk around, jot it down, get to know how much is a gallon of paint, how much is a kitchen sink, jump on Wayfair and Overstock, shit, have at it, sit there all day long and you'll get the prices of things. It's not that difficult. Buyer's guide. This is, again, I think a great one to send out. It's a great icebreaker. One, you're putting something in front of your buyers that they can read, that you can then ask them or they can ask you questions about. So that's a really good one, especially if you're a little nervous about, how do you get going? How do you sort of strike up a conversation on the phone you've never met before? The buyer's guide is a great one, because you can go through it and pull out points and start talking. I know you use that a lot, you said,
I think I guess I've got two big pieces. I think the buyer's guide is great for educating, the process. It breaks it down into pieces. I'm kind of a liability guy. I also share because I don't want you coming back saying I didn't tell you. Not only did I tell you, I gave it in a referenceable material. Which is something I picked up on. I actually wasn't doing that. And I think that was a great takeaway, was I should do that as well. I think, Andrew will know this, and people from the CHFR days. Brittany, I think I'm not a CMA guy. I don't do CMAs. I don't do buyer's guides. I don't do material like that. As you know, I like to talk, so I think I just kind of wing it. But yeah, no, Jared's right. I mean, cover your ass. At least you've given it to them. It's one less thing for them to come back on and say, well, you didn't tell me. Well, yeah. Well, if you can read, then you got it.
You got
it.
Right.
I think that one of the biggest pieces here, though, is knowing the market. If you actually understand what's taking place. Damien spoke to it, very specifically. Hey, we had 500 new listings and we had 1,600 that went under contract. If I'm asking my client to step up and really compete, but I'm not fueling it with data or stats, do they have the confidence that I even know why we need to step up and compete?
Exactly. It's just, you need to explain to them that, hey, in this price bracket or this market, you can talk with confidence. It's about educating, and you can confidently say there was this many properties, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing I've started doing is I've been calling agents on properties that we looked at, didn't write on, or if we did write on it and didn't get it, and calling them up and saying, hey, what did this go for? Like, I know you can't tell me the exact sales price, or you can if you want, but we had, how many offers did you have? What did you go over? What was the appraisal gap? Because again, you can turn to your clients with confidence and say, I spoke to, Brittany Ryan and and this is what happened. And, we're looking at this property. Everything I do is preparing the client to write when they write that contract.
Right.
That every from the minute I talk to them to the minutes writing the contract, because I want to get to the point where I say, Jared, and I use this, we're not throwing the kitchen sink at this house. We're just not doing it. We're going to go in at 465. We're not going to get it, but we're going to try, because we don't know. I know we're not going to get it, but I do it as an exercise, because when I want my client to throw the kitchen sink, they throw the kitchen sink.
Right.
So all of this educating part is establishing that bond, that trust. Because I'm not going to screw them over. There's nobody here that is not 100% integrous, but they know that I'm not going to screw them over. I'm not going to take advantage, and I'll regularly tell clients, we're not writing on this offer. We're not writing on this house. It's too much is going to come up.
Right. I think it goes back to the whole purpose of this is that giving value, that adding value. And I think what's establishing the trust and confidence in the clients is that the education piece. You're also reminding them that maybe this isn't the best fit. Let's not go above and beyond. This
isn't the house to go in above and beyond.
You're protecting them every step of the way through the education process. Yeah. Hey, let's be mindful of this in lending. Hey, let's be mindful of this inside the house. Let's be mindful, throughout the process. And truth, to be honest with you, when a house goes under contract, this is my issue. I don't want it to fall. Right.
If I go out and show you 15, 16, 20 houses over a 3-month period, in my mind, I'm not wasting my time. When you're under contract and now we fall because of something I should have picked up on, like inspection or lending, now I've just completely wasted my time. Right. I'm back out, I'm back grinding. And Jared knows this, again, just to attest, sincere cheerful, I can go back 4 or 5 years. I've never had a single buyer fall out. Once they're under contract, I have not had a single buyer. I've had listings fall out because of the freaking lending side, but I literally have not had a buyer go back out and looking. And that's because when we come to inspections, the educating part, I will tell them in the house, this is what's going to come up on your inspection. I prepare them, I educate them. So there's no shock to the system. There's no sort of like, oh my God, like we spoke about this. Right. I also use that time to say, we're not going back because the plug socket's reversed, right? Uncle Vinny can change that for you. It's not a problem. Right. But if we've got mold, if we've got roof, and of course in this market, we have to do these things as well. But the major items absolutely will go back to the seller, but we're not going back because you suddenly don't like the color of the friggin' paint job. Right. You know? So I use all of this to educate them. And what I'm doing is I'm preparing them because they go, oh, the plug socket. No, Jared, we spoke about this. Remember? Like we got this contract because we told the seller, So I'm setting it up to be able to go back and say no, because it's not a no. It's like, I told you this. We spoke about it. It's a little easier no.
Right. Right. Softer. Well,
softer.
Right. Well, and they're trusting you anyway. And then they remember the conversation you had.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
So that's the education part. That's my big hot button.
Next. Maybe. There we go.
Yeah, you don't need to spend too much time on this one. Appreciate. It does tie in with the other two, and it's an obvious word. Appreciate. Appreciate your buyers. Appreciate for what they're trying to achieve, their timeline. Appreciate that they, should I live in Thornton? Should I live in Littleton? I mean, so often and not, I'm like, hey, I want to look here, I don't want to look there. My thought is, I'm not driving from Fort Collins to the Springs. You can go Pound Sand. I'm actually not driving from Avada to Littleton, but that's a whole nother conversation. So I talking to them, educating them, finding out who they are. Do they have kids? Do they want kids? Are they married? Do they have 4 kids? Are they dog people? Do they like to hike? So, no kids, got a dog, like to hike. Okay, well, why are you looking in downtown Littleton? Why are you looking in Denver? Like, come over to the mountains, or, we've got kids and we want good schools. Okay, well then, why are you looking in this? So I can again say to them, well, you don't want to be here because everything you've told me about your lifestyle just doesn't fit this area. Doesn't, you want to be close to restaurants. Why are you looking up in Indian Hills? Hello, So I use that again, not against them. It's using it to say, this is what you told me. You've hired me to give you my experts' advice. You want to be close to restaurants. You want to be close to coffee shops. You want to be vibey. Why the hell are you up in Conifer? Like, let's come back down this way. So appreciate, and listen to them. Listen to what they're saying. And again, know their why.
I think it goes, back to the value thing. Do they feel valued? Are they feeling valued from you? And I think they're not only feeling valued, I think they do feel appreciated and valued, and I think that, the concierge service, one of those things that not only adds value, but I think they're appreciating it on your side, but also feeling appreciated, feeling heard, feeling listened to, that you're in tune with their needs and their wants.
What I kind of going to the end, but I'll put it in the middle. If you see, everything I do is to make my job as easy as possible and to be as quick as possible. Like, I don't care if I'm working with you for 6 months. I don't think about that. It's like, if we're going to write and go under contract and it's going to take 6 months, I'm not out every weekend driving all over the show. Like, I'll, go out and see 2 or 3 properties. I try to narrow it down. I do believe that clients should take as long as they need to find their right house. But at the same time, I don't need to be showing them 10 properties a weekend. And I think this is what agents fall into, this trap of like, well, if I'm not showing them what they want, they're going to go somewhere else. Well, no.
If you knew what they wanted.
If you knew what they wanted,
you wouldn't have to.
So know their why. Is it the schools for Johnny and Mary? Are they moving for a job? I've got a couple coming in from Washington, D.C. They're going to be working at the Federal Center, you know, and they want the Starbucks walk, they want the restaurants walk, they want, you know, but they also want to be no more than 15 minutes drive
from everything.
From everything. So, you know, immediately downtown Littleton is a good place for them to look because they're up to like 800,000. Well, that drive is too far. You know, they want to hike. Well, Indian Hills is not going to give them their Starbucks. So we can talk about these things, and literally I have them narrowed down to like basically Golden and Lakewood is where they want to be, you know, because they can access the mountains close to shops, etc., etc. So really find out their why. Again, it's something that you can talk to when they stray, when they start looking in Centennial. You're like, well, you're working in the Federal Center. What are they looking to? This doesn't make sense, you know? So you're not driving out to Centennial because you're scared if you say no, they're going to then dump you.
Right.
So you can say no by understanding what and listening to what they've told you.
Well, then I think it goes back to you identifying what they wanted and then asking them again. Well, you told me and you shared this. You wanted this. Is this still what you're wanting?
Yeah. Oh,
right.
and if you're changing, that's great. If you're changing, well, I mean, I'll take you to Centennial.
Right.
But tell me what's changed. What have I missed?
Right. What did I miss?
Oh, well, you know, Jared and I were talking last night, lying in bed, and okay, great, you changed it. No, we were not. But, you know, I was fantasizing.
You know, here's one of my favorite pieces here is respond. You know, when you, Damien, you know, he says, you know, I have one client in their eyes, you know, are we responding immediately? He, you know, in the gym gets the request and then giving the response. I think that's one of the biggest value items that you can have is not leaving them hanging, not wondering, am I getting the support? Am I going to get the things that I want to need?
Keys for the car. Look on, in the top bottom. Hang on a second. Give me a second, guys. Sorry.
I think this is a big one. You know, the old-fashioned, I'll get back to you in 24 hours. I'll get back to you in a couple hours. I think you know, the responding piece is one of the biggest things that I picked up on this. You know, do you understand their why, where, and what? You know, what reason are they actually wanting to do this? Anybody have any thoughts, I guess, on these pieces we've shared?
Yeah, please. Sorry, guys. My mom's just heading out.
Somebody's going to Mexico.
Mexico to catch the COVID. The respond harkens back to my days when I was at Washington Mutual. Met Andrea for the first time. Yeah, didn't know the first thing about landing in America. I'd only been landing in Europe. And I'd walk in on a Monday morning or Tuesday morning, and Andrea's just dropped this like stack of like, I want to refi, name and number. And I would go call every single one of them. And so whenever somebody got back to me, I would instantly like respond in some way or another. Now these text messages have gotten a lot more prevalent since 2002, 2003, but it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'll say, I'm in a meeting. I'll tell people, I'm in the gym. I will call. I'm very transparent. I'm very like direct. I don't pretend to be in a meeting. It's like, I'm driving, I'll call you back. I'm in my office, you know, whatever. But the key is they know that you've received their request.
Right.
There's nothing worse, in my opinion, and I learned this in my lending days, for a buyer or client to reach out and there's crickets.
It's silent.
I mean, that was uncomfortable, wasn't it? It was like, so they're sitting there, and if you respond, they go, oh, cool, he's got it.
Okay.
Now you're good. I mean, you can literally take 4 hours to get back to them.
Right.
It doesn't take you, but, you know, I'm out showing. Someone calls me, silence, I'm out showing, I'll call you back. Right in front of my buyers. Hey, sorry, guys, I'm just responding to another buyer because I do it to them. The person I'm with, I've just the other week responded to say I'm showing, you know, so respond. Make, you know, your clients think that, you know, I hear all the time, oh, you know, I had this agent and, you know, I thought I didn't have time for me, or they wouldn't get back to me, or they weren't showing me what I wanted. I'm like, well, I will. So thanks very much. Well, screwing up, Jared.
That is not what happened.
That's not what happened. And again, it just ties and share with your personal experiences. You know, I use the word like the phrase, you know, be a chameleon. You know, you don't have to get into politics. You don't have to get into, you know, farming. You don't have to get into just like laugh and joke with someone. I mean, if you clearly know someone like loves hunting and you don't say I don't like hunting. Don't do it. You don't need to talk about it.
Right.
You know, but find common denominators, things that you can talk about. They don't always want to talk about properties. They don't always want to talk about, what this costs. There's so much of my time is just actually shooting the shit, to be honest with you.
Totally.
Just talking, I travel a lot. I talk about my travels, you just find something that you can relate to. And and again, it's all about bonding and like you've got such a small space of time to,
solidify the relationship.
Yeah, solidify the relationship.
And we were talking about, the importance of having a sense of humor and keeping it fun and lighthearted, and, making the process actually, it's not enjoyable. It's going to be painful, but
yeah. And I say that. I literally say that to buyers. This is going to be very stressful. I know this is stressful for you. I know it is. My job, I'm going to make you laugh. I say that we're going to have fun. And on the phone, you can literally feel
oh shit.
Like I literally say, we're going to have fun. I'm going to make you laugh,
Right.
And I go down some rabbit holes with buyers and I'm like, okay, we need to stop this conversation because it's getting a little weird, type thing. But it's when you can get your clients
engaged.
Right. I have this little thing, and I use different words because of growing up in South Africa, growing up in England. I say cheers a lot. Everybody knows me. When my client starts using my words, I've got it.
Right.
I've got it. Monica laughs at me. She's like, "That's not true." And I've shown her like, "Oh, watch this," and I'll be on speaker, and they'll go cheers, or they'll go mate, or I've got it.
Right.
Because it's that personable touch. So find something that you can like really relate to, and you'll start seeing a pattern. You will really honestly see a pattern. People will start mimicking you. If you use certain words all the time or certain ways of saying goodbye or hello, whatever, they will start. And when they start mimicking you, honest to God, you've got them.
Well, and I think one of these things
When
that
they
Damon's
start
touching on
saying
is
the F-bomb as much as
distinguishing
you do,
himself. So he's not only providing value, he's also sharing his own value to them. So it's a kind of a mutual appreciation. They're mutually appreciating the value you're giving, and then also kind of giving you that value back. Hey, we're with you. We're dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
You not only get this deal, you'll get all of our referrals.
And that's the goal. And again, I'm honest with them. I'm like, that's how my business survives. Like, I will do the best job I can. I'll value you because I need you to be able to confidently refer me to someone else, and so I'm again very honest, like I need referrals, people. This is how I survive.
Right. And I need your deal.
And again, I use the boomerang. And you'll see a lot of these things get repeated. This isn't like 45 different things. There's maybe 20 or so. They're all interlinked. They're all
Hi, Mary.
Using the
Good question. Can you guys hear me?
mute Mary.
No, I think Mary's not muted.
I'm not muted.
Okay, we got you, Mary.
Okay, I was wondering what system Damien uses for Boomerang, because I think you can't do it through Sync, right?
Boomerang's its own entity.
It's its own separate company.
But how do you don't you send the system? You send the contact information through like one of your.
No, he puts it on an Excel spreadsheet, name,
Right.
address, client info on an Excel spreadsheet, and gives it to Boomerang.
So you would sign up with Boomerang, and initially, whenever you start something brand new, there's a bit of work behind it because you're sort of playing catch up. So that, depending how many clients you want, you would then hook up with Boomerang. I think you get assigned a rep. You would then send all the buyers their names and addresses. You put them in an Excel spreadsheet, and you send it over to them.
That's what I'm talking about. That Excel spreadsheet is one of the two that Jared sent out, right? And
No. This is just something separate you would do on the side.
Just a list of names and addresses. Just a client list is all.
okay.
Because you're going to want, obviously, first name, last name. I think it's polite if it's a husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. whatever, not just addressed to the one, and then obviously their address. To be truth, I think you can upload it into Boomerang yourself directly. A side note, what really helps with Boomerang is when you collect all their names and addresses, you can go in at any time and export them into an Excel file, an Excel spreadsheet, I should say. And so I'm now going back to my past clients, because we all know someone who closed in 2014 through 2018 has a shit ton of equity. So now I went into Excel, I went into Boomerang, downloaded all of their names and addresses, emailed that to UPS. UPS charged me $10 for 150 names to be printed on labels. Picked that up yesterday, and I didn't have to re-enter it all for UPS. So now I've got these knock cards that I'm going to send out to my existing clients. Again, I don't want to get too far into that. So as you know, over the years, I've established this client bank. I can use it. We used it for Christmas cards, went and downloaded it, sent to UPS, got the little sticky labels, boom, 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 instead of writing all the addresses.
So he's just managing, you know, his own list of past clients, current friends and family, you know, anybody who's on his, what would be a holiday list, you know, kind of your go-to people, your top 100, your referral network.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, anybody who closes, regardless, seller buyer goes on it, you know, seller for new address, and hopefully most sellers become buyers. I mean, some of them move out of state. And then just, anybody who I want to just be in front of, you know. But it has like positive side effects, not side effects, like side things, when you're sending out like holiday cards, or if you want to send out Valentine's cards, you can go and just pull them all down and send them out, you know. So that it really helps in that way as well. It's just about starting. And I think that's why a lot of agents don't start things, because it seems so daunting. It seems, oh my God. So just do one thing. We've all heard the book, One Thing. Just start on one thing, do the boomerang, get that going, because that just becomes like out of sight, out of mind. Right. You just get charged whatever it is on a monthly basis.
Updated
each month.
Right.
So once you've done it, I mean, the boomerang is the thing that everybody should. I mean, we've been talking about this for years. Just set it up and they send it out every month. You don't even worry about it. Right. You know, you just put a credit card and they charge you. And it's really, I think maybe about $100 and some. I mean, it's not a lot of money. It's enough on a monthly basis. Right. And it's all text time.
Well, you know, adding value, but also keeps you front of mind, you know, then, Damien's still obviously in the industry, you know, he's still participating. He's still my agent, you know, it reminds him to refer you, you know, gives them something and reminds them to give you something.
So now we get to the meat part, and this is, and literally the meat, M-E-A-T, like, how do we now get in front of the clients? You know, what do we do when we are in front of the client? How do we get them out? You've done all of this, you know, 2 or 3 months on the phone. You've set up a concierge search for them. They're really, you know, so for years, even before the market was this crazy, I don't really care if somebody wants to see one property. I did it yesterday. I did it the day before. I drove up to Westminster. Like, I will show one property because, again, it's the value. It's the I'm working for you. You know, I'm going to go and I'll take my time to show one property. I get to meet them one more time. I get to talk to them one more time. I get to know what else they are looking for. Every time you're with the buyer in a property, you should be picking up what they like, what they don't like. What do? You come back to your concierge search and you refine that. You refine it. Oh, the kitchen is too small. Well, next time a property comes up, you look through it and you delete it. You know, you get rid of it because the kitchen is too small. Or when a buyer says, I want to go look at 123 Main Street, I'll be like, hey, Jared, remember the property we looked at and you said the kitchen was too small? This is the exact same property.
House.
Oh, okay, great. Well, guess what? I haven't just wasted my friggin' time going looking at a house. Buyers shouldn't be expected to see that. Buyers look at the house through rose-colored glass. Mm-hmm. Everything's wonderful, you know? So I'm not going to say, no, you can't see that property, because then they're going to go and contact Mary. I'm going to say, you don't want to see this one because it's exactly the same or similar to the one that you didn't like. Now you're giving them a reference point. So the more properties I can show them, the less I actually end up showing them. And then when we come to write, we're like, hey guys, you know, this is the one. The kitchen's got a good sized kitchen. It's got a master bedroom. It's got a master bathroom, blah, blah, blah. Here's the downsides. Okay, the backyard needs some work, but guess what? You can work on that. Or the deck's a little rickety. We can fix that. I can't give you a new inside. I can't give you a new layout. This is the layout you're looking for. All of a sudden, everything else becomes, all right, we can do that. We can work on it. So I will absolutely go out and show one property. I'll jump to the number 4. I will even do conflicting schedules. I want to get in front of my buyers as often as I can and establish that connection. I will literally show husband or wife, boyfriend or girlfriend during the day, 3 or 4 properties. when the other spouse can't join us because they're working, we then like, hey, because I know what they want. I know what they're looking for. I can talk with the other spouse. The other two we don't like. We like this one. I'll go back out that night and see the exact same property because that's the only time the husband or the wife, whatever, can see it. Guess what? We're writing on it. You know, we're writing an offer. And in this market, if you wait till the next day, you wait till the weekend,
Saturday.
see ya.
Right.
It ain't there anymore. We all know that, you know?
And I even took this one from Damien. I've got an appointment with the wife tonight because the husband's not available till the weekends.
Well,
hey,
yeah.
Hey, if we want to get in, we want to get on top of something, you know, doing it in the middle of the week is certainly better than us waiting and losing
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
you know, before Saturday.
And you all know what happens when, you know, the wife or the husband get excited about a property. You know, I mean, they will do your job for you because you know they're on the phone. You know they're on, hey, I love this property. I know it's got everything we want. They're doing your job for you. So when you go out again that day or the next morning, you know, it's just really, you know, confirming, okay, yeah, we like it, and you know, let's go ahead. So that's one of the biggest things I do. And again, it's showing that I'm going to be flexible. I'm going to work within your schedule. I will do whatever I have to do to accommodate
To make it
your
work.
schedule.
Right.
And then when I say no, I can't, because I truly can't, or sometimes I actually just don't want to. They're like, oh, okay,
That's
you know,
okay.
that's all right. We
You've
understand.
done it 99% of the time.
Yeah. So when I say no because I am showing or doing, then people are like, okay, yeah, well, when can we? You
Right.
know, so that's again why I also do that.
But I think it goes back to the value piece. Not only are you presenting and sharing the value constantly, regularly, they're also then reciprocating that same respect, the same appreciation and value.
Yeah. And if they don't reciprocate the same respect, I'll say to them, hey, look, we've been out, we're doing this. I do have other buyers, people, you know, and that doesn't happen, to be honest with you. But again, I do everything so that when they have a no or a negative, I'm not saying no back to them. I'm using their words, their thoughts to say, well, you know, so and it's very difficult for somebody to like come up in your face when you're really just, remember you said that? Remember we did this? It's like you're giving them actual factual.
And they're like, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
I'm not even listening. Right.
I mean, I even joked with a couple, it was like, you know, in snowy morning and, you know, we went out, it was this couple months, like a month ago. And I was like, oh, next time, you know, bring me a coffee if you're going to drag me out in the snow. So wife's working, husband's off yesterday, you know, hey, can we go look at this house? I'm off today. Now he's off on Mondays and Tuesdays. So the only days, well, Sundays, but it's the only days he's off. He works till 7:30 at night, 7 in the morning to 7:30 at night. And he was like, hey, can we please go see this property? I know it's late in the afternoon. I'll bring you a cup of coffee.
Right.
I'm like, done,
Right.
let's go.
Right.
You know, so we drove up to Westminster, wasn't quite right. It was a little expensive, blah, 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 you know, but
The coffee.
the coffee was very expensive, yeah. And then I spoke to the wife this morning about the property, and you know, she totally agreed that it was just too expensive. There was things that weren't there that made it so expensive.
Right.
So,
Right.
again, video tours, you know, hey, let's do a video tour. You're meeting them, aren't you? You're getting, hey, what's going on? Like the last 3 or 4 clients I've been communicating, do the video tour. Hey, it's great to put a face to the name.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's good to see you guys as well. So you're meeting them, aren't you? You know, that's another way to meet people. And then, yeah, I mean, you know, or grabbing a coffee, sitting down, getting to chit chat, getting to know them. I use coffee, and it's not so prevalent now because of, you know, it's a little more difficult with the virus, and hopefully we're going to, you know, moving away from that. But I use that time to just actually not even so much talk about their house. I mean, we will, but really get to know them. Like you get to see them. You can tell a lot about how somebody acts, dresses, what they talk about, what their interests are. So I just try to make that a personable something or another.
I'm gonna call, I think Cece, you're on here, right? Cece went on a listing appointment the other day. What did the seller show you? Didn't he like show you his karate? Like
yes, he has a martial arts room. Is that the one you're talking about? The one that really threw me off?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, I mean, just connecting, meeting with
Yeah.
people and connecting with them on a personal level is really what I think changes a lot.
It changes a lot, yeah.
Right.
This is all about being personable. You know, people want to work with people that are like-minded, that are personable, that they are comfortable with. That's
Well, I think people want to refer people. I mean, they want to know that they're working with somebody that they would refer. You know,
Yeah.
why would I want to work with somebody that I wouldn't want to refer? You know, so I think Damien even having the, you know, being able to distinguish himself, have that sense of humor to where he can say, well, yeah, if you're going to drag me out, you got to bring me a coffee. And not only did it work, they bring him a damn coffee. You know,
the next time they're like, if you come show me this house, because I'm dragging you out because it was yesterday and it was late. It was like, hey, I've got, you know, it was something like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, we all know how tight showing times are, you know. So did I want to say I'll show you tomorrow? I mean, today I did, but I knew he was working. And so I was like, we're going to have to drop everything and run, because I think it was like 1 o'clock and the only showing time was like 2:15 or something. And he was like, okay, great. I'll bring you a cup of coffee, you know, like if you, you know, stuff things. So I was like, okay. And so and he kind of made a joke to me, you know, he was kind of like, I'll bring you a coffee if, you know, if you'll drop everything for me and run out.
Love it. Love it. They feel valued. You're being appreciated and valued. You know, it's reciprocated.
That's what you're trying. And then, yeah, I mean, buyer's consultation and listing presentation, again, everything above just goes into number 5. You know, prepare your clients, prepare. You know, give them a plan. I do this a lot when I'm writing an offer. Again, this doesn't happen too much these days because we're going so far over. But I would always, you know, when we're more in the countering, you know, we'd counter back and forth a little bit. You know, we don't do that now. Maybe it was at the end of 19, we'll still be countering, or 20. But anyway, I would always like explain to them, okay, we're going to go in at, you know, 380, the house is 395. What do we do when they counter? You know, I would say to them, so they're going to maybe counter at 390, 388 or something. I would say, what's our plan? Like, again, they're telling me what they want to do. So when we get that counter and they deviate a bit, no.
We talked about this. We knew it was coming.
We spoke about that. I told you, you know. And I'll also tell them, if they come back at 391, whatever, we're taking it. I mean, if they come back at that price, you guys have to sign on the dotted line, right, you know? Right. So when they come back at, like, you know, 390 and they're like, oh, we want to, no, you said you were going to sign at 391. Right. Like, you know, so, you know, setting plans is hugely important, you know. And when listing, I always set a plan on, like, our listing coming up at 485. Now, do I know it's too high? Do I know the market's crazy? Yes, we could very well easily get 485 for this house.
If not more.
If not more. I don't think we will, but I have a plan. I've said if we don't have an offer in the first 7 days, we are reducing, and I have it written in, we're reducing by $10,000, because I think it should be closer to 470 myself, right, you know. But if the buy one's 485, we're not a million miles apart. They're not saying 585 here, right, you know. Right. And again, I tell buyers, I could be wrong. Like, this is a crazy market. We could very well get 485. So let's try it. But
preface it.
We're not sitting out there.
Right.
You're not falling in love with 485. And I'll give them a plan. After 7 or 8 or 9 days, this is what we are reducing to. Now, does it work all the time? No. But again, I have something to go, this is what we discussed, people,
right,
you know. So
right. Love it.
Setting up a plan.
Here we go. How about you?
How about you?
How about you? How about me?
So again, I think everything we've discussed, while very relevant, it doesn't become irrelevant, but it becomes more challenging, becomes harder, because I think in this wonderful world of real estate, and basically you don't have a Monday, you don't have a Friday, you don't have a Sunday. It's every friggin' day. It's 10:30 at night. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, Monica's constantly horrified that I get a call at, you know, 6:45. Who the hell's it? I was like, well, it's my job, and that's what I do, you know. You've got to give back to yourself. You've got to find your why. Like, why are you doing this? Why do you want to do this? When things are hard, you need to sort of, you know, fall back on yourself. So these are things that I do to challenge myself, to grow myself, to better myself. You know, this is what I do to give back to me. Gym, again, people have known me for a number of years. Not ever going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't strive to look like. I go to gym because it's my time. It's my hour and a half where I can plug in, tune out. Do I answer text messages? Yes, I do. God damn it, I can't ever not answer a text message. Do I get sidetracked sometimes? Yes, I do. But you know, I want to just feel good. I'm not about to run a triathlon. This is not what it's about. It's just getting in. And you actually meet people, believe it or not. You know, I got the manager of 24 Hour Fitness up in Balls and Kipling, and we're looking at $500,000 houses. So I just like to feel good, look good. I know Andrea's an avid runner. I know she works out a lot, and she's been doing that for absolute, year after year. I've never been a big motivational person, and I got to be honest, the older I get, the more I'm sort of, getting into it. Clubhouse, I don't know if anybody knows about Clubhouse. It's a great app. It's basically set up on like a room basis, and everybody can get into this room. I'm on something called Miracle Morning at 7 o'clock every morning, 7 o'clock Colorado time. And it's really sort of focused around real estate, and you get to meet realtors from all over the country. It's all voice. It's not video. Met a couple good realtors in Denver. It's about establishing like connections, and what this has done for me is a number of things. Is I don't compare myself to other realtors. I don't really care what other realtors are doing, but you also get to see that you're not the lone boat out there. Right. Okay, that everybody's having high points, low points. What do I do here? Struggles, right. And so it's good to like just get in and listen. It's just good to hear. One of the people on there, David Golden, I've never actually met David. I've been sort of Facebook, social media friends with him for a number of years, 4 or 5 years now. And he's truly a guy that just gives without any expectation. And so because I saw that he set up this Miracle Morning, I jumped on with him. And yeah, I haven't missed a morning in a couple of weeks. And so what also has come out of it, this might sound a little crazy to people, I'm happy to get into it in a bit more detail, is setting yourself challenges. I always believe in like challenging myself, setting myself goals, because we all say we want to earn $100,000 a year. We all say we want to 200,000. Well, when you don't achieve that, you feel pretty shitty. I want to make 20 phone calls. So what I try to do is, one, set myself kind of like a realistic goal, some pretty, maybe difficult challenges, but things that I know, like I've achieved them. I've got these little victories, little things that when I'm having a crap day or things just aren't going right, so be like, well, you know what? I did my friggin' 2-minute cold shower today. Like I did it. Like I can then look back on that and go, actually, I had a success. And if I can stand in the shower for like 2 to 4 minutes, freezing cold, there's not a buyer out there that's going to piss me off. This thing has pretty revolutionized the way I feel and think in the past couple of weeks. One of the challenges with the Miracle Morning is doing this 1 minute cold shower and 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it's a 30-day challenge. There's a whole philosophy around the cold shower, which is, again, it's a whole nother conversation. So setting yourself challenges, things stepping outside of your comfort zone, things that you normally wouldn't do. I'm not talking climbing Mount Everest. I'm not talking trying to do a triathlon. I mean, that's great, have at it if that's what you want to do, but just some things that are realistic. They don't take a lot of time. That's why I sort of delved into this cold shower. Shower normally, I do it at the end, because it's taking up 1 to 4 minutes of my day. Right. I'm there anyway. Friggin' do it. I'm happy to talk a lot more about that if you want.
Hey, I can tell you what. I just had a colonoscopy yesterday, and if you can get through the colonoscopy prep, you can do fucking anything.
True that, honey. True that. Yeah.
It's hell.
Talk about exposing yourself.
I just wanted to share that with everyone. And good news, everything came out fine.
Literally.
Everything, right? Everything.
TMI there, Andy. TMI.
Test-wise.
Oh, okay. Clarification.
And then, we've, I hate reading. I really, really hate reading. I don't sit down. So I'm a big Audible person. There's some really great books out there that just, again, they help. They really do, but it's finding what helps you, just doing things a little differently. So I'm right now reading The Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents. One of my favorite go-tos is The 4 Agreements. If you haven't heard that, I absolutely encourage you to get that on Audible and just listen. Don't read it, just listen. The 4 Agreements will absolutely blow your mind and will change the way you look at people and the way you hear people and the way you talk to people. I'm not going to go into it too deeply. I'm happy to talk to you about it but I don't have the time here. 4 Agreements is great. And the one I'm going to start next, and I've researched, is The 5 Regrets of the Dying. My man crush, Gary Vaynerchuk, anybody who knows me, knows my complete infatuation with Gary Vaynerchuk. If you don't know him, I encourage you to look him up. He says, go and sit in an old age retirement home with someone who's like 88, 95, 98, and listen to what they say. Listen to what they say, and you will absolutely change the way you do things. Because
you're not listening.
Hey,
Or you're not
or you're not listening, or you're not exactly, because the regrets, I would have, I should have, I could have. You know, we're all young. No one's here is 99 years old, about, you know, knocking on death's door. So all of these things are to constantly grow and change and evolve and adapt. And there is always someone who is doing it way better than I am. And there is always someone that I feel I can help and just give a little something to, because that makes me feel good. I like this. I like doing this. I'm not necessarily very good at it, but I like to share, because if it works for me, hopefully these things you can take out of it. Because what do we all want to do? We all want to make money. We all want to help people. You know, we're not in this because we want to sit on our ass. I mean, if you are, get out of it, because
you're not going to make it far.
You're not going to make it far.
Right.
You know, it's a grind. It's a slog. It's 24/7, 7 days a week. So yeah, find things that work for you. Tap into. I mean, literally, Clubhouse is the next. It's the greatest social media platform that's come out in it's brand new. It's only like a month old, if maybe not even a couple months old. Right. It's in a beta. They've got over 3 million users. It's in a beta testing program right now. That's why it's not on the Android. But just, you know, just sit and listen to other people. You realize you're not alone. This is a very lonely world.
Right.
And
lonely industry.
And it was a lonely industry. It's a very thankless industry. Right. You know, it's a, you know, if a surgeon said to you, hey, I've got to put a steel plate with 5 pins in your arms, you're not going to go, oh no, you're not doing that. Well, when you tell a seller, list at this price and do this and do that, what does the seller say? No. Oh no, I'm not doing that. Right. You know, well, we're very undervalued. We're very underappreciated. You know, that's just part of the game. You've got to, you know, appreciate that. You've got to, you know, accept that. And work with it. I
have to add to that, Damien. I agree 100%, because if you watch any time you're watching any movie, TV show, whatever it is, look at how they portray real estate agents. Mm-hmm. Where it's always in a joke. We're always a joke. I mean, even in British shows where they're called estate agents, I love that name. They always, think of us as just, you know, mindless idiots who give no value, and that bugs me.
Yeah.
You know, the blondes walking around in their Louboutins showing houses in the Hollywood Hills. That's not real life. That's not what this grind is all about.
So it's funny. I was this morning. I was in the shower and I had my Miracle Morning going on my portable speaker. And they were talking about, you know, 95% of the people are average, right? 95% of the people that you know that are out there, they're average. They go to work, they do the 9-to-5 job, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you want to be 95%, or do you want to be the 5% that make a difference, that get out there and do something different with your life? That's entirely your choice. Well, if you want to be that 5%, you can't do average things. Right. You can't be fucking average. Right. You know? Excuse my swearing. I swear in front of my clients. It kind of just falls out. Do something different. Don't be that, you know, blonde-haired real estate agent with the, you know, Armani handbag. You know, you don't need to be that. You don't want to be that. But how do you separate yourself? How do you become that 5%? Because it's truly less than 5% of agents make 95% of the money. I mean, that's just a simple fact.
You know, and I think it just goes back to the value, though. I mean, in this piece right here, just are you identifying your own value? You know, do you perceive your own value? Do you believe you present value? You know, and I think that if you're not, and you're not feeling that way, it won't be received either.
And there's nothing quite empowering when you actually fire your first clients.
I've done it once.
When you don't want to work with them.
Right.
And it's difficult when you've got one. It's kind of tough. Yeah. But when you've got, you know, you've got a good book of business and someone's just not working with you, sorry, go find someone else, you know. It doesn't happen often, but a couple of times, like I'm just, because now you have a choice.
Right.
Not having a choice is one of the most restricting, most debilitating things you can have. And we have that as agents. Like, I've only got 2 buyers. I can't, Well, work on getting more. Work on how do you establish that book of business so you feel more free. You have freedom to choose who you work with, what you do.
I think this piece is one of the biggest ones. The more you're able to give yourself and feel better, provide and present and feel the value that you have, I think that you unavoidably start putting it into your business. You start accomplishing more of the responsibilities and tasks that you've been avoiding that grow your business. But usually it's because we're avoiding the tasks that help us grow ourselves.
We avoid working.
Right.
I think
working on ourselves, working for others.
Yeah.
I'll go to the gym tomorrow. I'll make my calls tomorrow. I'll go to the gym tomorrow.
Well, I remodeled my entire house, this, and I every morning, 5 or 6 mornings, go to the gym, didn't miss it. And with the whole virus and the gym's closing, and then I'm like gutted my entire house. All I had left was walls and doors, to be truthful, just to get the picture. Whole summer I got sucked up with contractors. Who into the gym? Not this boy. And trying to get back into it. Holy cow. That was one of the hardest things, was getting, like, if I don't go today, I'll go tomorrow. And it's like, just stop, just get in that freaking gym, because
Right.
What did I have to do? I had to start again. I got a bit of the COVID fluffiness going on, felt a little too easy, having too many drinks in the summer evenings, October rolls around, I'm like, ooh, okay, well.
It's a bigger project than
it's a bigger project than my fucking house. So you got to start. Starting is the most difficult thing. Starting is the most difficult thing. Once you start and you just keep, it doesn't matter. You don't have to sprint. You don't have to run. You don't have to do everything in one day.
Right.
Just start.
Right.
And just keep, even if you're crawling. It was there's MLK saying, and I wish I remember that. I saw it just the other day. But it's along those lines, if something, and please don't quote me on this, and I don't mean to disrespect Martin Luther King, but if you can't, sprint, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. I mean, just keep moving forward.
Incremental,
and I've said it a couple of times. Do not compare yourself to other agents. Just don't do it, because I know agents who close $80 million a year. I think great, wonderful. But if I was like looking at them going, oh my God, I mean, you paralyze yourself.
Right.
I don't want to do $80 million a year. That's just not me.
Nor do you want to sprint a marathon.
Nor do I want to sprint, I also happen to know how some of these people do $80 million. And, so a lot of it's kind of, they got big contracts with Lennars and D.R. Hortons and stuff like that. So it's not all paid, again, don't be disillusioned by someone who's closing 52 or 62 or 72 deals a year. I tell you now, that's why, full disclosure, like I spend over $100,000 a year to close my 45 deals a year.
Right.
So work out that, you know what I mean? That's what I got to spend. Do the math on that.
Right.
So yeah, that's why, I'm not trying to be boastful. I'm just trying to explain, when I say don't compare, I want to be full disclosure. Don't think that, it all just falls from the sky. It doesn't.
Well, I think the biggest piece to this wasn't overnight. This didn't happen. It didn't start yesterday. It didn't happen last night. And it's not here today. It took a long time to get here.
Like building blocks.
Right.
And I didn't learn that until about 2016. I've been doing real estate since pretty much solidly 2008. I'd done lending before. I'd always been in real estate. When the mortgage crisis hit, I had it easy. I had an ex-wife who was doing bank-owned properties before foreclosures became a 4-letter word. So my lending business hit a brick wall. I took over her business. Banks were throwing properties like they were friggin' candy to a baby. I didn't have to work for it. I'm like, I love real estate. Stick a sign on the ground and I get buku phone calls. I'm not even making decisions. I just upload them to the bank and the bank makes the decisions. It was, piss easy. It was, it was great. Well, then all of a sudden 2012 hits and I didn't have much of a real estate business because suddenly we're going the other way, so adaptability. And I didn't adapt. And in 2016, my business hit a brick wall.
Right.
Like I barely held on to my house. That's full disclosure right there, So that's when I was like, okay, I've got to do this differently. Building blocks, building one little thing at a time. So and I've been, preaching that at CHFI. CHFI was going to, get recruiting new agents. We'll talk to them. I just always say, don't go out to make $100,000 in your. That's your biggest mistake right there. Because if you don't hit it, you're going to feel like a failure.
Right.
Just start small and just,
Right.
that's the way I've done it.
Done. Love it.
This is one of my little things that I've, waking up 1 hour earlier each day. We don't have enough time. We don't have this. We don't have that. Just wake up 1 hour earlier. That's almost an entire working month in a year. What could you do with one extra month? Shit, wake up 2 hours earlier. So, it's perception. I've honestly started waking up 1 hour earlier, starting early January. I'd be like, it's 7:45, 8 o'clock, and I'll just hang around. No, 6:30 every morning I'm up because I'm on that 7 o'clock phone.
Right.
Like on that 7 o'clock miracle morning. It's about accountability, for me.
Well, and you're getting the results. You're not doing it for anybody else.
That's for me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I get on that phone call. No one's gonna like, oh, Damien's here, woohoo! I just don't want them not to see me on the call.
Right.
Suddenly I'm like, I want to be on this call because I want them. And then I actually hear good things. You hear from what people are saying from all over the country. Hey, I learned this the other 2 days, yesterday or 2 days ago. We're not the only state that's thin on the ground. This apparently is becoming a nationwide problem.
Right.
And I have my own theory behind that. But it's not just Colorado, peeps. Inventory is low across the board. So it's, something's going to have to give, but that's a whole other
I think it's interest rates.
It is interest rates.
Yeah.
It's 2.8%. We can't, as much as we like our buyers to qualify for more, it's actually hurting us.
Yeah.
It's truthfully hurting us.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And until it adjusts, we're going to keep feeling it all summer. That's what I think.
Yeah. No, totally, 100%. Yeah. We need to be at 3.5%, 4%. Truthfully, is where
To
we actually need
balance
to be to balance.
Right. We'll see.
Well, hey, who knows?
Here we go. I like this. What do you got?
What? Find your story, share accomplishments, celebrate your victories. Share. Talk about your trials and tribulations. Talk about what you're doing. I try to share my story as best I can. Andrea, back me up. You call. I'm always honest with you. We're always direct. I call a spade a spade. Andrea's always reaching out, and I love it. I love people who call. I'm always wanting to help. Try to relate, my stories, my side. It's not always roses in the garden. Actually, very seldom is it fucking roses in the garden. All right. You see agents always, when you hear this, the commercials, Chad Madlin, 6,000 properties, oh shit. I know how Chad Madlin works. He actually pays his agents like 35%. Okay. So let's get down to brass tacks. And it's not him. He spends $100,000 a month on radio ads,
Right.
So again, share your achievements, because you might find your achievements are actually greater and bigger than you think they are, and someone can learn from you. Doesn't matter if you close 12 deals a year or 200 deals a year. People will they want to hear what you're doing. They want to feel.
I think the biggest piece about this too, though, is are you surrounding yourself with people who are genuinely, genuinely your tribe, genuinely your friends? Do you have a network? Are you in a group that you can share things with? Are you feeling alone and are you being isolated?
And that does fall back to again, and I've heard this more and more over the past year. I think I was tuning it out before. Who do you hang around with? Right. Are you hanging around with people who want to party all weekend? How about it? You're going to party all weekend. Are you hanging around people who want to be successful? Hang around like-minded people.
They elevate you, challenge you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They elevate, challenge. That
Enhance your life,
they're gonna hold you to a higher accountability.
Right.
And it's again more difficult with the virus, with the COVID. I mean, we're not socializing. I'm having a huge issue. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I love going to restaurants. I love eating out. Traveling, and that's my gig. That's what I do. I catch myself thinking, okay, just focus. It's okay. I'm having difficulties not doing this all the time. You know?
And now you're finding new ways to replace it, though. You
Don't talk about my cooker. You got an indoor.
I think it's you joining the motivational groups that you previously didn't. You found those inspirations from interacting face to face, and now have found it from from voice to voice.
Yeah, it's a very good point. So I honestly, yeah, I didn't relate it that way. Yeah, again, this is why you share and tell people, because honestly, I didn't see it that way, and that's a very, very good point.
Right.
You got to find other ways to do.
But that's the adaptability. That's identifying your needs, your interests, what you find the reward from, and if you're not even, analyzing it or working towards it, you won't.
If you just sit at home in your lounge PJs and switch to your bedroom PJs, shit ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's just it's not. And I'm not the greatest by any stretch of the imagination. This is just the way I do things, and I really hope they work for me. Full disclosure, I have a dialer. I don't do all of these things. Please don't think I'm doing 45 things. I'm not. Right. I pay someone. I know what I do. One of the things I learned very early on from Gary Vaynerchuk, actually, focus on what you do well
and do it.
And hire people to do the things that you don't do well.
Right.
You'll make way more money, and you'll have way much more time on your hands, and you'll be way less stressed.
Right.
So
you'll feel more reward from it anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. So yeah. Again, this is something I just heard the other day, and it was very, very profound for me, because I say start. You got to start. You got to get to the gym. You got to get those leads set up. You got to do the calls, and they all seem challenging. I try not to have my head rule my heart. I always try to do the right thing. I try to be as honorable and as integrous as I can. I would, somebody wants to write on a house and I don't think it's the right house, or I know that, I tell them, I'm literally saying, don't write, I don't want a commission. It's because I don't want them to end up buying a house that they regret, So the longest journey you'll take is the 18 inches from your head to your heart. When you really think about it and you really break that down, you'll realize that it's not putting one foot in front of the other. It's getting it out of you. Get out of your head.
Right.
Get out of your friggin' head.
Right.
Listen to your gut. Listen to what you're saying inside,
right,
and go with that.
Right. What's your heart telling you?
What's your heart telling you to do? I'm telling you that's right. 99%
your heart's
of the
telling
time.
you one thing, and your head keeps turning it down.
Yeah.
Right.
I got in my head this morning. This is a God honest true story. Last week, AMC, movie theater, AMC, right? Trading at $1.90. And in my head, I'm like, who's fucking going to AMC? No one's going to AMC. I went there with, Monica the other day. It's empty.
Right.
Did you look at what AMC is today?
How much?
It opened at $26. I was literally like,
should have done.
And I was angry because I should have done it. I should have bought my $1,900 and I didn't. Stop. Don't do that to yourself. I was like, come on, that was a shit ton of money,
right,
and I was angry at myself because I didn't buy it, because I was like, no, this is not going anywhere. No one's going to the movies. The bar, well, I think it's at like $12 or $13 now. It came down, but still, so get out of your heads. Don't get in your head. Just, if you miss out on something, or you miss out, I'm the worst one if I don't get a listing. I take it. Well, I used to take it very personally.
Right.
If things aren't going your way, just listen to your heart. Just don't play it around and around in your head.
Right.
That's
forgive
one of the
yourself.
things. Yeah, forgive yourself. You're right. Yeah, be okay that it's not always going to be okay.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing I've had to learn, is to get out of my head,
Done.
and listen more to my gut. So
Good
I
stuff.
hope that helps. I hope there's some nuggets there you guys can use.
Any comments, thoughts, questions?
I have a question. Damien, I
Uh-oh.
find huge value in setting goals and stuff for myself, just to challenge and that kind of stuff. Do you set goals for yourself each year, and what are they based off of?
I'll be honest, I don't. I'm pretty driven. I'm pretty focused. I know what I want to do. So I don't necessarily set myself goals. Just the other day when Jen and I were talking, it was like 2 weeks ago, we were in the office. And I explained why I don't set myself goals. Right now, I've got 2 listings that are coming up. I've got at least 6 solid buyers that are in the car, and I've got 3 or 4 others. That doesn't count what my dialer has. And Jared's like, why do you do the concierge? What's going on? And I said, because I have this, but I'm panicking inside, because I know how hard it is to get these people under contract. So I don't set myself goals, because like, what's my goal? To get 2 a month, 3 a month? I think there's many variables that come into play, but I know myself. I don't look at my business and go, oh, I'm cushy, I'm all right. I see it from a different perspective, you know, and I'm not saying people do that or don't. I look at it very uniquely, to be honest with you. So
you work like you're hungry.
I work like I don't have a deal.
Right.
You know, I work like I haven't closed any business. That's kind of how I work. So I think it's more goal setting when you are making calls or you are trying to set appointments. You know, my goals are more like,
Everybody, have a good day.
For myself per se, like doing the cold shower. Like I'm working up to 4 minutes in the morning, going to the gym every day.
So maybe
more
what you're saying,
personal goal.
well, maybe more, you know, short term and you know, more gratifying, immediate gratification.
Yeah, I've goals. I know I want to close 3 deals every month, you know, and I know I'm 2 behind because I closed 1 in January. Well, if you count, might be like 2, but and I'm panicking because I don't have anything for February. I also know that it can suddenly, like, you know, pop and change. So I try not to get too in that quagmire, because one of the wonderful things about real estate, one of the greatest things that, again, doesn't happen in a lot of industries, you can go 2 or 3 or 4 months without a closing, which is not good, but if you can, and suddenly close 4 or 5 deals, bang, $70,000.
Right.
So I always hold on to that. Like it's okay if I don't close this month, which, by the way, February will be the first month in 4 years that I haven't closed a deal in a month, just FYI. So I'm freaking out because I want to close something in January, you know. So I think it is important to, if you're all goal minded and goal orientated, to set yourself goals. Set realistic goals, though. I don't think, you know, with 100 phone calls a day. I think, you know, we've been there. I think it's a little much, you know. I'm going to get hold of 20 people. You can't really control that, you know. So I'm set those goals because I think you should achieve them, but also set yourself personal goals. Like, you know what, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk 10,000 steps today. I think you'd be more productive saying, I'm going to make 50 phone calls, but I'm going to walk 10,000 steps, and you've only made 25 phone calls and you're 2,000 steps behind. Get up and walk your 2,000 steps, in my opinion.
Right.
You're going to do more for yourself than making another 25 phone calls.
You're going to feel more reward and then want to do more anyway.
Exactly. Because what you might find is you might come back and make those phone calls and be a lot
at a greater level,
a greater intensity.
Right.
So
more
that's
purpose.
the way I look at things more. I hope that helps. Sorry.
No,
Anybody
thank
else? Well, thanks, guys. I think
Thanks
that's
very
all we
much.
got. If you guys need anything, let us know. Appreciate it, Damien. Thanks for joining us.
If you guys want to call or have any questions, you know, please feel free to call. I'm always happy to chat.
Done. Thanks, guys. Make it a Wednesday.
Ciao.